All right, Z, let's tackle some questions that you sent me. So for everybody else that's not Z, Z, as we will call him or her, sent me an email with a couple questions. They are external to the U.S., just in case that context matters. And I wanted to go through some quick answers for both of the questions. So Z, two things. You had questions around pupa and then the subsequent beetle collection after they hatch, and then spiders. I'm going to start with the spider one. So spiders are a pain in the neck. I actually have an issue with them right now myself. So it happens. It's a normal thing. And I'm going to talk through how I got to where I'm at and what I'm going to do to resolve it, and then be more proactive about stopping it in the future. So from a proactive perspective, I used to spray insecticide on a very routine basis, both at the base of the interior insect room and then the exterior base of the entire building. I got a little lazy with that, and I think what happened is they came in during that lazy point, and then the other thing I realized I wasn't doing was spraying the interior of the non-insect room. So I have a space on the front of my building that's like storage and where my wheat bran is and things like that. And I hadn't been spraying that. And so what I think was happening is there were spiders that were getting in there. I would put buckets out there, or things, just like, hey, I'm done with this for today. I'll get it tomorrow. And my presumption is that they came in that way too. So be mindful about what you're bringing into the farm or bringing into the insect room. And so from a proactive perspective, I'm back on the spraying schedule. I spray insecticide, a few different products to vary it up, and I spray every 3 months. And then I'm going to spray every interior area. The baseboards, essentially, or the base where the floor and the wall meet, spray all of that, along with the storage area that's unfinished outside of the mealworm room. All that's going to get sprayed down on a routine basis. But now that they are established, it's a perfect environment, right? They've got good temperature, good humidity, no predators, and they have an abundance of mealworms to eat, right? And so what I think is going to be helpful from a mitigation perspective is moving those trays around and checking them instead of just putting them somewhere and letting them sit for too long. And I had an issue many months ago. I was testing something, and it turned out that it extended the growth of the mealworms, the time frame, by like 2 to 2.5 months. And so those trays sat for a lot longer than they really should. And I think it just let those spiders get in there and start really going rampant. So I think moving those trays more frequently and making sure that your growth is good, so that you go and harvest those and move those trays and manipulate them, catch anything that might slip through before it becomes a much bigger issue. If you are setting trays and a kind of a set it and forget it scenario, that's going to result in just something getting into those nooks and crannies of your trays and causing issues. So moving those things around is going to be important, in my opinion. And then the way I tackle it now that they're there, a vacuum cleaner comes in handy. And so what I'll do is whenever right now I'm kind of just surviving until September. I've got a part-time employee that's going to start in September. We'll be able to catch up with everything. And so right now it's just kind of survival mode with keeping the farm going, getting things done, fixing stuff as it breaks, that sort of thing. And so I'm not being proactive with clearing out the spiders. What I've done is a couple things. So I've put diatomaceous earth on the concrete floor around trays that I know have been sitting for too long. And then every time I take trays and process them, I take them over to the mealworm sifter and I'll look them over. And if I see any signs of spider webs or anything that make me think, hey, there's some spiders here, because it's not everywhere in the farm. It seems like there's hot spots, and I haven't found a pattern yet. But I'll take the vacuum hose and I'll just go over the entire stack of trays on the outside, get all the nooks and crannies, and essentially suck all that up. Get rid of any egg sacs, clear out the cobwebs, that sort of thing. And then I will, like, all that goes into the vacuum. Then the contents of the vacuum go into the cull bucket so that everything is exterminated, and then it goes back out into the woods. My plan from a get rid of everything and reset perspective, is to, once we're caught up and we have some breathing room, I'm going to use that vacuum method, and we're basically going to go through every single stack in the entire farm. Identify if there's anything going on, use that vacuum method to clean those things out, and basically move and touch every single tray, so that we kind of reset those things, collect anything that's in there, and then I'll be on a much more stringent and disciplined schedule with the insecticide spray, and then dealing with those, like the random stuff that might come in on a bucket or on a bag of wheat bran on accident or something, right? When I find any of those hot spots, going ahead and tackling those proactively, or quickly, and not just letting them be. Those are the main things I'm tackling with. You can't go in and just spray your trays with insecticide. You can't just, fog everything. You have to be careful because you don't want to mess with the mealworms, right? So be mindful with what you're spraying. When I spray stuff in the farm, I will turn everything off. All the fans are off. The HVAC is off. Air conditioner, heater, whatever time of year it is, everything is off. And then I will take a big piece of cardboard and essentially block, about 6 to 10 inches away from the wall. I'll just put that cardboard there and then spray along that. Give it a moment for everything to settle and then move on to the next spot. That way I'm not getting anything on the trays, in the trays, any of those particles flying around. And so, excuse me. So far that's worked very well. I haven't had stuff get into the trays and issues with die off in the trays, mealworms from spraying. All right, second thing, pupa and then harvesting the beetles. So you did send me a picture, and that was very helpful. Gave me a good visual of what you're doing. I'm not going to share that picture with everyone here, but what I will say is you're using a very standard pupa bridge, right? So that's a very prevalent thing for folks raising mealworms, is to use a pupa bridge to get those pupa up off of the substrate, up off of the bottom. The pupa then hatch, and the intent is that they hatch into those beetles and start moving around and fall off the sides, right? And the issue you're having, again, I have the same problem. The beetles will hatch and they just kind of stay. They're not moving, they're not going anywhere. They just hang out, they're comfortable, there's no pressure, there's nothing getting them to go. And they'll just kind of stay on that pupa bridge and not go anywhere. And so they're not effectively collecting themselves, right? Like they're not falling down, so that you can then either leave them in the tray, collect them and weigh them, start your own tray, whatever the process is there that works for you. It's frustrating because you want them to move and get down there, but they don't. And there is some die off. So you did mention you have die off, and then you've got to separate that out because you don't want the dead pupa to get mixed in with the beetles. You don't want that potential pathogen issue. You don't want the excess moisture from the dead ones until they dry up. And so getting them out is appropriate, and it's a time-consuming thing. I am testing a method that will improve that. So I have the same issue, and the way I deal with it now is I don't use a pupa bridge. I just put them in a tray. I'm using a big white tray that's 24 inches by 18 inches, I think. It's bigger than the Beacon Camp 6206 trays. So those are 600 centimeters by 400 centimeters. The white dough proofing trays I'm using are probably 800 by 600, if I had to guess. And so I'll put a single layer of pupa there and then the paper towels on it, and I'll go through and manually collect. And it's too time consuming. And so I'm testing a method. I'm not going to give details on it right now, not because I don't want to share it, but I don't like to share those things before I've tested it and am confident that it's going to work and am using it in my operation. Or if I'm not going to use it, talking about why I'm not going to use it. And so I don't want to share that yet. I just talked with somebody. The other reason that I don't want to disclose any of that yet is it's not my product. I'm playing with somebody else's potential product. And so it'll be an agreed upon sort of announcement kind of thing. Once I've tested it and I'm happy with it and I want to talk about it, he and I will chat and make sure he's comfortable with it, and we'll go from there. And so I just spoke with him. I didn't speak with him. Messaged back and forth with him last week with a change that I'd like, and hopefully we can get another sample and do some more testing here in the farm. And once that initial testing has gone well, and so I'm really excited about it. But I need a couple changes to make it more operationally efficient, to make it make sense. And then I'll be able to hopefully openly talk about it at that point. So I don't like to tease people and say, stay tuned for more. But it's just not a good idea for me to share things that I'm testing when it comes to somebody else's potential product. So, but it is an issue that everybody honestly I think has. And once you get to enough scale, that's when it really starts to hurt, right? When you like right now, I'll go and collect the beetles off of my dough proofing trays, and there's probably still anywhere from 10 to 20% of the beetles left in there that just haven't connected to that paper towel and been able to get taken out. And it's not worth the time to go through collecting every single one of those. And so it's just an efficiency loss. It's frustrating. And hopefully I can find a solution to that and share it with everybody. So thank you for your questions. If you have any more, please shoot them my way. It was just way too much to put into an email to try to get feedback to you. So my preference is to respond this way. If anybody else has any questions that they want to get answered, shoot them to me, Justin@MidwestMealworms.com. Please be patient because I'm super busy, but I'll try to get a response out to you as quickly as I can. Thanks.